So if you have noticed a lot more banner ads and a lot more companies in your life or in your social media feed trying to push you to the polls this November, you're not alone. It's all part of a Get Out the Vote or GOTV effort that we're seeing being pushed by corporate America. Joining us now to discuss, Enrique Abeyta of Empire Financial Research and somebody who's very familiar with the social media scene. Welcome to Stansberry Research, Enrique. Good to have you.
Thanks, Jessica. Good to see you again.
So we've seen this trend that companies are taking on the issue of voting like it's a sales goal. We've seen Foot Locker registering people to vote in the store, Uber and Blue Apron giving their employees election day off as a company holiday, Best Buy limiting store hours to encourage their employees to vote. What's your take on all this?
Look, I think social activism amongst corporations has been a growing theme and idea across the last 10, 20 years. And if anything, it's picked up in 2020 a ton with all of the political and cultural tumult that's happening. I think a lot of the touchstone issues that are out there, Black Lives Matter, climate change, without me making a statement, whether supporting or denying or any of that, those types of topics do have a significant portion of the population that would feel alienated by the discussion or support of them. Again, I'm not justifying it one way or the other. Voting, no one's going to, say, oh, no, people shouldn't vote. I don't think it's really a thing. People might say, well, you need to be properly registered and all these other things, but that's the whole point of this process. So I think that, it's a very safe way for companies to get involved in social activism and a good way, to be honest. I think it's positive for everyone.
Will it drive the bottom line?
I think, it doesn't hurt. I think the only thing that we see with it is so many companies are doing it. I don't know that there's really that much of an advantage. It also there's no one coming out against it. So I think it's a nice thing. Look, I think it's like giving making $1 million donation to a charity or something like that. It's a good thing to do. It's positive, but I don't know that it's going to be a game changer for any of these companies.
All of this comes in the context of this kind of explosive and really popular Netflix documentary we've been seeing, The Social Dilemma, that really talks about the impact of social media on our lives. And I want to read you this quote from one of the people interviewed in the documentary. He says, quote, "That's the only thing for them to make money from, changing what you do, how you think, who you are. It's a gradual change. It's slight." How much of this is a factor in what's going on here, that social media is driving this kind of campaign?
Is social media attempting to influence human behavior of Americans to get them to vote? Yes, they are.
Mark
Yeah,
Zuckerberg said he wants to register 4 million people through Facebook. So yeah, it's an obvious goal and not a bad one. Nobody's going to argue with it, to your point.
exactly. And Facebook is the biggest, baddest one of them and most dominant. They're sort of damned if they do, damned if they don't. If they do something positive, hey, let's raise $5 billion for charity. It's like, oh, Facebook's just doing that to drive engagement. Yet if the charity still has $5 billion at the end of the day, who lost there exactly? We are at a peak cacophony in terms of a lot of these issues, exacerbated by COVID and all of these things. Again, contrarian view, it'll be very interesting to revisit these conversations even in 6 months, 12 months and see if we're still talking as much about a lot of these issues or if we've moved on to the next thing. So
Enrique Abeyta, thank you so much for joining us from Empire Financial Research there. And if you want to be connected to his writing, just hover on your screen now. We'll connect you there. Plus, you can find all of our content on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks for watching. That's all for now.